forbid you are sitting in this place saying, I don't care about legacy. You need to care about it because somebody's got to live in the life you have. You are passing something down whether you want to or not.
Let's get real for a second. All too often we say things like, I want a stronger relationship. I want a better marriage. I want deeper connections in my friendships and relationships. I want more peace in my home. I want to attain that promotion. I want to be able to get to the next level in whatever athletics you may be in. I want to be able to become more physically fit. I want to get better sleep. I want. But do we desire to do the work it takes to get the thing we want? You guys, welcome to the Mindset Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Velasquez, and today we're going to be breaking down what I'm calling the desire framework. And this episode is called Going from Want to Desire. How do we go from want to desire? And that's exactly why we're going to break it down in today's episode. Listen, if you are joining us for the first time, thank you and welcome to the Mindset Mastery Podcast, where we are in a continual growth cycle. I don't think we ever arrive, and we shouldn't want to necessarily be fixated on destination as much as it's about who we become in the process, which requires us to be constantly renewing our minds, right? On a daily basis. It's not something where I do it one time and I'm set and I'm good. I wish that was true. I really do. I think a lot of us wish that was true. It's something we want, but no pun intended, do we really desire it or desire what it takes to get it? So before we jump in, and so I don't forget, as always, hey, if you've been tuning in and you have yet, please leave a comment and a review. It helps me grow this podcast. It helps me have a greater reach and impact on people out there that I believe can benefit from this particular podcast. So thank you in advance for doing that. But before we really jump in, I think it's important that we kind of understand, like, what are the differences? What are some of the core differences from want versus desire? These aren't necessarily textbook definitions, but it helps kind of lay a foundation to give you some context as to where we're headed and why this has been something I've been kind of stewing on. And can I be honest? Not that I haven't been honest before, just to be transparent. And one of my real thoughts before this podcast and throughout the last couple of weeks is this is not something I've even had in my notes to bring up, but is learn how to recognize that you want something, but you don't necessarily have the desire to really get it. And don't beat yourself up. Recognition's part of the process. So be aware of it. And I'm just saying that to say, it will help you immensely. And that's just an added bonus for this particular episode. So you're welcome. Hopefully that helps you and you understand what I'm kind of telling you. And it's not too ethereal, which just means out there, too broad, too hard to understand. What are the differences, right? What are the core differences between a want and a desire? And how can we recognize it, right? So when I'm talking about want, see, a want is something that we think we desire, but we just want it, but we don't necessarily know what it really takes to have it. And so it's more of just a passive thought, or we want it because it's convenient, right? Like, I want cookies only because somebody else is going to bake them and do all the work and do the dishes and do all the stuff, and then they'll just show up on a plate for me. That's how I want cookies, because it's convenient, right? I want something. It's more of a wish without movement. It's like I want, or we say the expression, I'm hoping for this, but I'm not going to do anything to make it happen. Listen, we have a 1 acre lot with another acre kind of adjacent to it that's all usable for us. But we have a very large lawn. And I want it to just take care of itself. I want it to stay trimmed. I want it to stay cut. I want it to stay nice and green and be picture perfect. I want that. However, it's not just going to happen. I'm going to have to take action. I'm going to have to do things that are really not as desirable because it requires action, inconvenience, and for me to not be passive. I think you get the drift. So let's kind of compare that to then what does desire look like, which I'm kind of leading us into here, because desire is the opposite in this context. Desire is action oriented. I don't just want cookies. I'm going to take the action to go make them myself. I want them that bad. I'm just going to go do it. Or you ever wanted ice cream before and not had any in the freezer and you're like, ugh, I want ice cream. But I'm totally not willing to drive into town, go to the local grocery store and get some. I know these seem very, kind of like basic things, but here's what's cool. Principle never changes. So no matter how, big of an idea seems versus how simple of an idea it is, it's the principle never changes. So I want ice cream bad enough that it turns into desire, and desire is backed by action oriented, movement, meaning I'm going to get in the car, I'm going to drive to the grocery store, and I'm going to get probably 2 half gallons of ice cream because we're a family of 6. Let's be honest. We want that to last for at least 2 days. And you know what? I have to be willing to be uncomfortable because you know what? When we're sitting at home, we want the ice cream. I'm like, oh man, I just got comfy. I just sat down. I really don't want to get dressed. I don't want to have to, put on my shoes and we start rationalizing. But guess what? When it's true desire, I'm willing to get uncomfortable. I'm willing to be inconvenienced. And it's basically desire is having a decision backed by discipline. See, and discipline comes from repetition. And so because I've done something enough, the desire comes more naturally. It goes well beyond the want. It's not just want, now it's desire, meaning I'm going to take the action to get it. Right. A couple of other examples maybe would be, I want to lose weight. This is such a common thing in most society and our culture, right? We want to lose weight, but do we desire to exercise and eat right? See, this changes. See, what I want normally requires me to do something completely different to get the thing that I want. And that's normally where we kind of check out and we just want it. We don't really desire it. Or how about I'm a husband and a father. We're a family of 6. We have 4 kids. I want a peaceful home. Versus, do I desire to lead though with patience and humility and work through the process of myself? Do I want to learn how to be peaceful in my home so then it will model what a peaceful home looks like? Yeah, those are 2 different things. Listen, I do want a peaceful home, but I'm being honest, it is much harder for me to desire to learn how to take action and be inconvenienced so I can better learn how to be peaceful in my own home. That's just the raw truth, right? So that helps us break down maybe some differences, the core kind of difference between a want and a desire. Like I said, keep the ice cream thing in the back of your mind because we all want ice cream at some point, but a lot of times we don't desire it enough to actually get in the car, drive up to the store and get it. Unless your kids heckle you for 20 minutes straight. That really helps build your desire too. No, that's not necessarily true, but let me tell you, it certainly helps. But some real life application, right? What about, how does this kind of idea of want versus desire show up in maybe your marriage, if you're married, or parenting, if you have kids, or even your friendships, or within leadership, if you're a leader, or maybe it's in your own faith, right? Listen, I want a lot of things for my marriage or in my marriage, but then I have to ask the question, do I desire to do the work, sometimes the hard work, in order to be able to get the thing that I truly want, right? So, because wanting it is great, desiring it is necessary. I want my kids in the realm of parenting to take out the trash. I want them to do these things without me having to constantly remind them. But as a parent, it's not always convenient. Sometimes it's very uncomfortable. And let's be honest, it's irritating also at times. And it's because I'm like, oh my gosh, now I got to be inconvenienced to do this, to make sure this happens. But if I really desire for them to learn things and discipline and how to contribute to the family, I'm going to have to desire it enough to be inconvenienced. Friendships, man, we live in a social media world. We live in a texting world. We live in a world where it's like, I don't even have to work that hard to necessarily communicate with people. But if I want like real friendship and I want real connection with a friend, then I have to desire to be inconvenienced. I have to desire to discipline myself, to schedule times, figure out when it can work, and do a little bit of legwork, right? Our faith, I think, is one of the most simple ways to make this comparison and contrast between want and desire, because when it comes to faith, we may say things like, man, I want my faith to grow. What do we really mean by that? And are we ready for what's coming? Because when we say I want my faith to grow, I'll just use myself. Do I desire the storms, the trials, the tribulations? And I'm not just painting a picture of the only way our faith grows is through, tough times. However, experientially speaking, my faith has grown. And when I look back, I think a lot of the times it's been because of tough circumstances and things and me choosing to do the hard stuff, or through loss, through storms, through trials and tribulations, as the word would put it, as the Bible, when I say the word, right? Do I desire that? Let's be honest. I just want my faith to grow. I just want to have unbelievable faith, but I don't want to have to walk through stuff. I don't desire to have to go through a trial or tribulation, right? A tough time in life. I don't desire that. But if I really want my faith to grow, I have to discipline myself to desire to take action and go through the tough moments. That is just how it is. Desire is what takes us into the trenches. It's where we learn to be willing to fail and to adjust and keep going, because you care more about who you're becoming in the process than you do the need for constant comfort, which just keeps me in the want zone. So let me give you this really quick so we can kind of move on and I can kind of land this plane, because I think the practical application's there and you get the idea. But I think this is really important. And so I don't forget at the end of this podcast, I'm going to say this here. And so if I say it again, I don't apologize, but I don't want to miss it. Is I've already said it once. Take time to just maybe assess your own life in what particular area and see where is it that I'm wanting something, but I can recognize my level of desire is not matching it. And then decide, do I really desire that? Do I really want that? Or is it just because it's convenient? And am I willing to grow in my desire, which drives me to action, to start putting myself in motion to go get what it is I want? So make sure you don't miss that. Do that and apply it to your life. It could be your marriage, a relationship, a promotion at work, starting a business. It could be so many different things. But I want to give you the desire framework, like I said at the front end of this, and just break it down based on an acronym. And it's simply this. The first one is discipline. Discipline yourself to show up, even when it's inconvenient. There are so many things. I had a friend of mine, not to tangent too much, but I had a friend of mine through a voice memo say something. I thought it was very simple and practical, but very profound. And it actually made me think about desire, because he was expressing that getting really good, he was being encouraged and reminded to get really good at the basics. I want to be good at the basics. Do I desire to get really good at the basics? Then I need to learn how to discipline myself, as an example, to just show up. Because guess what? Sometimes the most basic things we are easily inconvenienced by, and it's why we avoid it. So first one, discipline. Second one is the E, engage. Engage in hard conversations. Engage in hard activities. Engage in things that are inconvenient for you, and lean in, not out. Listen, I have not done that many times. And then there's times that I've done it and I realize, wow, this is really helping me grow in my desire to continue moving forward. So discipline, engage. The second one is serve. Learn to serve without conditions, not seeking applause, not seeking something in return, no expectation or unspoken expectation. Just serve. Discipline yourself, be engaged, and then serve. Serve the people around you and do it without conditions. Then the I, initiate, right? See, a lot of times we wait. because I want something, but I'm not willing to initiate, and will sometimes want it and will wait on someone else. We'll want it and expect that someone else should take the reins. But sometimes if we really want something either for ourselves, for our family, for our business, I have to initiate. And listen, you could initiate a lot of different things. One, hey, being a person of faith, initiate prayer, initiate presence, and initiate being peaceful everywhere you go, everywhere you are. But initiate. And then the last one, which I've alluded to, okay, so this is the third time, is reflect or reflection. And we do this daily. Am I becoming who I want to be? Or who am I becoming who I'm called to be? And that means we need to reflect, really look at it and say, what I want is one thing, but am I desiring it to the point of taking action? And can I reflect on that enough to recognize, man, I'm not desiring this enough because I'm not taking action. And lastly is elevate. Elevate your effort. Don't wait for perfect. Just move with purpose. I've said this before. A coach of mine said it. Imperfect action is always going to beat or be better than perfect procrastination. Imperfect action beats perfect procrastination every time. Elevate your effort. It doesn't mean work harder versus, it's not the whole work smarter, not harder. Okay, there's a principle to that, but that's not what I'm saying here. Is I'm saying elevate your thinking about telling yourself it doesn't need to be perfect and just take that step. Desire it enough to have a faith that steps, even though you can't see it, you can't fully understand it, but you trust this process. So discipline, engage, serve, initiate, reflect, and elevate. You guys, I'm going to land the plane here. My encouragement to you again, and here we go, probably for the fourth or fifth time. My encouragement is ask yourself this question, because it's not about being perfect. It's about being present and progressing. So remember that desire doesn't equal perfection. Desire equals persistence, or I would also say desire equals consistency. So here's my challenge. Ask yourself this question. Where in your life do you need to stop just wanting and start desiring enough to act? Pick one area. You may have multiple, and I don't want to discourage you from having multiple or going down that path, but I don't want you to become overwhelmed to the point that then you don't even desire to take action on the one that came to your mind first. But just figure out what's one thing that you need to stop wanting and start desiring enough to act. Okay? And take time to reflect on it and then see what you need to do to start taking action. And remember, it can be messy action. It can be imperfect action, because it's always going to be better, help you start moving, getting the ball rolling and moving down the road. So you guys, hey, I appreciate you tuning in today. Do me a favor. Hey, if there's someone you think that would benefit from hearing this podcast, this particular episode today, hey, invite them. And by sharing the link and sending it to them, put it in their inbox, DM them, whatever you want to do. And if you think it'd be encouraging to them, send it along. I'd appreciate it. And as always, you guys, always trying to create different avenues to be able to stay in contact with you guys, add and offer value. So if you've yet to connect on my weekly email, hey, do that. The subscription link is below here in the show notes. You can just click on that and subscribe. Every Monday, inbox free. You get a weekly email just helping us kind of set our mind set straight for the week. And if you want to connect further, listen, as a coach, what I do is basically help people break off limiting beliefs, specifically have an emphasis on helping establish more consistency and healthy foundations in the four walls of the home. So if that's you, or maybe you're even an entrepreneur and you're just feeling limited or stuck, hey, connect with me on a coaching call, or I'd love to help you take the next best step, or help provide you maybe a little bit of transformation and help you break through that limiting belief to get you moving down the road a little bit further. And then lastly, a lot of things here, but I want to get it in there. So I've created a community group, sorry ladies, just for men for now, called the Trifecta Man, where we focus on helping men grow in all areas of life, but specifically how to make sure we are winning at home and not just at work through honor, courage, and commitment. So the Trifecta Man community has just started. It is fresh, but hey, if you want to connect and join that free community, the link is in the show notes as well. Please do. We will have resources available over time. We'll be adding that as we go, as well as we're going to be having coaching calls bi-weekly and hopefully weekly coaching calls that you can hop on. They'll be recorded eventually as well. So if it's a time you'd have to miss, so be it. But anyways, you guys, rambling at this point. I appreciate you so much. Have a blessed week. Coach Sam Velasquez with the Mindset Mastery Podcast, and we'll see you on the other side. Peace.
God forbid you are sitting in this place saying, I don't care about legacy. You need to care about it because somebody's got to live in the life you have. You are passing something down whether you want to or not.